Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about owning up to mistakes made and not lying to yourself, because lying to yourself is if you lie to yourself you're going to lie to others. That's just how reality is. I know I said I was going to post back-to-back videos until Thursday. My dad was here this weekend, so I didn't get a chance to yesterday. I really apologize for that, guys. To my two actual viewers who watch my videos, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, there's a kind of lie that destroys people more than lying to others, and it's the lie you tell to yourself. It's the excuse, it's the justification, it's the fake version of the story that lets you sleep at night but slowly ruins your character. It is the truth, and the truth is the people are not stuck because they are weak. They're stuck because they refuse to be honest with themselves. They blame timing, they blame their childhood, they blame other people, they blame bad luck. But like deep down, it's that they know that they've been avoiding the truth for a while. And once you start lying to yourself, you don't just lose direction, you lose respect for yourself. Not don't fall, not don't be imperfect. It's not don't be don't make mistakes. It's warning that something is deeper. Once you lie to yourself enough, you stop being able to tell what's real. You stop seeing your own flaws clearly. You stop taking responsibility. You stop growing. Making mistakes is human. At the end of the day, that's what it is. Mistakes come in life. You have to make mistakes to succeed, because a lot of the times mistakes aren't failure. It's just something that helps you see what you did wrong and to move on from that and to better yourself off those mistakes. You like not owning up to the mistakes and not owning up to stuff that you did wrong is only lying to yourself, and will not help you get further into the life you want. It's Everyone says the wrong thing, everyone hurts people, everyone wastes time, self-sabotages, gets lazy, acts out of ego, fear, insecurity, pride. That's not just shocking part of human. That's not the shocking part of being human. The shocking part is how hard people work to avoid admitting these things. There's this philosopher, older Russian philosopher. He was around in like the mid to late 1800s. I've been reading some of his literature, or we're trying to, just online, like quotes and small things, small like blurbs. His name was Fyodor. I have his name on over here because I gotta make sure I pronounce it right. Fyodor Dostoevsky, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not too good with Russian names, but I saw this one quote from him: the real danger in a human being isn't just cruelty or ambition, it's self-deception. The moment you start lying to yourself, cruelty and ambition are dangerous, but self-deception is deeper because it hides inside you. Once you start lying to yourself, you can justify anything. You don't go to the gym that day. You're like, oh, I didn't have time, or oh, this, and that. When in reality, you could definitely make time for things that you have to do that would better your life. And by you just making excuses for why you didn't do things, is telling yourself that it's okay, I didn't do this thing, even though it would have bettered me. And that goes for all walks of life, for anything you do. You stop seeing your actions clearly. You protect your ego instead of facing the truth. This is when mistakes stop being mistakes and start becoming your character. It's basically the point of Dostoevsky is making is in the long, like, self lies blind you. They slowly destroy your respect for yourself. I've coming out here as any ego that I did have, any kind of ego that I did have, is stripped it down completely, and I started to look at my life in different ways, and trying to, I could. My words have currently been speaking louder than my actions, but I'm trying to get to there. I'm trying to get to that point, and I know I will. I made a few mistakes in the last 2 weeks in one aspect of my life, and I kept on saying I would do better, and I'd be better, and I wouldn't fuck up anymore, and I kept on doing it, because in reality I was just telling myself that, but I wasn't putting any effort towards the actual change and towards the action of being better. I wasn't putting myself to do that. I was lying to myself the whole time. The mistake itself can be repaired, but denial turns one mistake into a lifestyle. One bad choice becomes a pattern. One lie becomes 10 more. One selfish act becomes a whole false identity. A lot of people think owning their mistakes will destroy them, but usually it's the opposite. The opposite is true. Usually, what destroys you is carrying that fake image of yourself that you constantly have to protect. That is exhausting. It's sort of like being like performative. Like you make up a version of yourself to tell to other people that you think that you're doing better. You think that you sound cooler. When in reality, nobody actually gives a fuck. Nobody cares for that. Nobody cares to hear that part, and no one cares to hear that fake life you've made for yourself because you are too scared to admit the truth. This is why some people are always defensive, because always have anger, always blaming, because the truth threatens the version of themselves they've built. Why people lie to themselves? People lie to themselves because the truth, it hurts. Like I said, it hurts to admit. It hurts to say I was selfish, I was weak, I was dishonest, I was jealous, I hurt someone, I know better, and still did it. That part usually, but that part is usually the hardest to do. That's why people don't do it. But pain can purify you if you let it. My first honest moment, the first honest moment you could have is ugly. It's embarrassing. It strips away all your excuses. But it's also the beginning of freedom, because when you finally tell the truth and stop wasting energy pretending, you can work on yourself. You can actually change. You can rebuild, trust in aspects. It's not just an image, not an appearance, not performance. It's your real identity and your real character. Self-deception destroys self-respect. This is the part people overlook. When you lie to yourself long enough, you start feeling empty, not because life is meaningless, but because somewhere inside that you're not being real. You can feel this in your own life when you know you're avoiding responsibility that you have to do. Your confidence gets fake. The words are lose weight. You start needing outside validation because inwardly something is off. You can't respect yourself when you're performing an act for people that isn't actually you. That's why owning your mistakes is powerful. It rebuilds self-respect. Because self-respect doesn't come from being patient, from being perfect. It comes from being truthful. It comes from being the kind of person you can look at their own flaws without. It comes from being a person who can look at their own flaws without running away. You don't trust yourself because you never fail. You trust yourself because you always fail, and you face that fact. What owning mistakes actually ends up looking like. Owning your mistakes is not making a dramatic speech. It's not posting a quote. It's not saying I'm just being honest but while still avoiding consequences. Owning your mistakes means I did this, I was wrong, these were the consequences, and I'm not going to hide behind excuses. And now I'm going to change my behavior. This might be apologizing, this might be losing someone's trust, this might be sitting with the guilt instead of trying to outrun it. This might mean accepting that not everyone has to forgive you right away. That's maturity. And you can't just expect, you can't do it wrong. You can't wrong somebody. You can't be a fucked up person, a bad person, and expect that someone to just forgive you like that. Forgiveness may never come, and that's just the reality of it. A lot of people want redemption without honesty. Growth without discomfort often becomes no growth at all, because you need to own up to it, and a lot of the times that's not going to be comfortable at all. Forgiveness without accountability, the real change costs something. It costs your pride, it costs your ego, it costs the old story you told yourself. you got to stop like kind of romanticizing who you meant to be. You know, a harsh truth is that you are not you. You are The harsh truth is you are not only your intentions, you are also your actions. A lot of people hide behind intention. I didn't mean to. This is not who I am. But if your actions keep repeating, then at some point you have to stop worshiping your intentions and face your behavior. You know, who you could have been means nothing if you keep refusing truth. Character is built in confession. First, sorry. Oh, what I am over here. Not confession to the world for attention. Confession to yourself. This is power. There's a certain power in saying, this is what I've done, this is what I've become, and I refuse to stay this way. You know, you could tell everybody, tell all these people you wronged, all this and that. Yeah, I'm different, but you can't. The moment you tell yourself that is when you can actually become that person that you want to be, become that different person you want to be. The turning point in a person's life is usually not some huge external event. It's the moment they get tired of lying to themselves. The moment they stop editing the truth, like I'm going to edit this video. The moment they stop protecting their ego more than their soul. So yes, make excuses. You will fail, learn, regret things. Be human. Do not build your life on self-deception, because the more honesty you face, the more honesty you face yourself, the more solid you become, and the more you run from the truth, the more fragmented you become. Dostoevsky was right. You know, the deepest collapse begins with a person when a person cannot tell the truth to themselves anymore. So own it. You know, that's what it is. You have to realize that you did something wrong, and you can't keep running from that wrong that you committed. So, with that being said, that's my video. Short one today. I'm going to start doing these shorter videos. I think 40 minutes, 30 minutes is a little bit too long. People don't stop watching them after like 10. Nowadays, people can't watch a video more than 5 minutes without turning it off. The attention span of a goddamn goldfish, but it is what it is. So, I'm going to post one tomorrow. I'm going to post one until Thursday. I had a hiccup yesterday, like I said, but I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I hope you guys have a great night.